So it's WDHA's Reconnect with Rockers. I'm so happy always to reconnect with my very good friend, John Allen from Stone Horses. Some of you may know him from Charm City Devils. Now, we've gone back a long way, but I really have a sentimentality for you for a multitude of reasons. I'm going to tell you one. One of the last events we did was with you and the guys. It was a Charm City event, and it was February. I think of the bands that are some of the last bands that we got to interact with listeners with. You guys, the guys from Crowbot. And I think back to that time because it was pre-lockdown, and it just seemed like everything was so incredibly different.
It was, yeah. Yeah, it was a Debonair music hall, right?
Yeah, we had such a good time that day too. You guys did a great set and just hung out with listeners. And I think that those are the times that I really, really miss the most, seeing our listeners get to interact with artists. So that's why we put together Reconnect with Rockers. And I'm so happy to have you guys on because there's so many exciting things going on with Stone Horses. Yeah, First of all, how are Ted and Jason and, the guys in the band? I miss those guys a lot.
They're doing great. Jason, early on in the lockdown, I started calling him. I was like, listen, we're getting ready to have this EP come out, the new Good Old Days EP. And I said, we got to get together for rehearsals. Things are recorded. We're mixing and everything. And he was like, dude, I think I had it. I was so sick, at the beginning of March. I felt terrible. It was like the worst thing I ever went through and everything. And I was like, you probably did because you're always out. You're like man about town and
stuff.
So, but yeah, they're all good, man. Everybody's doing well. We've done a couple of live streams and it's awesome to see everybody again. I was born an only kid, so, only child. So getting together with the band, it's having my brothers around. We shoot we get together and talk and tell stories and all. And that's, it's kind of what I tried to do with the lyrics in Good Old Days. And the new single was I love to tell stories. And I was like, I've never really kind of done that lyrically before. And I started to, it's kind of, biographical, in a lot of ways without naming names to incriminate the
guilty. I love that. Now, did you start writing this tune? Was this tune something that was in your mind before lockdown, or was it something that came during lockdown? Because I think it's perfect. Obviously, it's perfect for, people that are, everybody's sort of going back to, as I did the second that I saw your face. Oh, don't you remember when we hooked up? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So talk to me about putting it together. Did you write it completely before, everything kind of changed?
Yeah, I think Rick had this killer riff, our bass player, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. So we recorded that, and I started, working on the lyrics. So I'm trying to remember the chronology. I think maybe the finishing touches were happening just as COVID was kind of coming our way.
Wow.
And yeah, so it was, a lot of the thought process was, man, remember when we could do all this stuff? We could go to parties, we could, go to concerts and get together with our friends and everything. And that's what it's so different now. And even, prior to COVID happening, I was thinking about how the stuff that we got away with, or I got away with, when I was growing up, and the kids can't do that anymore. There are cameras everywhere, you forget about it. You're not getting away with anything these days, and I was really lucky, that I'm here to live to tell about it.
You're not drinking beers at the high school, listening to Iron Maiden records without getting caught, those are, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that is what has connected with the fans, because you guys are doing so well with this single. I think it's incredible. Is this Stone Horses' first top 30-ish charting tune for you guys?
I think Reckless Ways cracked the chart a little bit.
Yeah, it did. It did. Ever, this one seems to really be, though, on a bit of a juggernaut.
We're really fortunate. I mean, that people are reacting to it, and it's cool. It's got the kind of groove, like a dirty kind of Guns N' Roses-y sort of. Our bass player wrote the riffs that he's kind of booty shaking kind of kind of thing. He digs, and I think it's got power, and I'm channeling a little bit of Van Halen in
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
like
yeah.
kind
No,
of.
John, you're a very distinct vocalist. And I
I
think you've really come into your own as a vocalist, where when
thank
people
you.
now hear your vocal and your
Mhm.
style, that's a John Allen bam, stamp on the songs, no matter, what project you're working with, whether you're working with Stone Horses and Charm City Devils, there's definitely a distinctive, sound that goes.
For better or for worse, right there.
No, it's great. I love it, and that's what makes a great rock band and a great rock vocalist. You're not
Thank
trying
you.
to be somebody else, and you have your own sound and your own thing going on. So talk to me too about, you guys put together, I love it. Bands are doing this. They're putting together an EP, some getting their full lengths together. Some are have just decided we're releasing music as we go along. I mean, there's really no rules. It's not like, and some people are taking a more traditional stance. You guys put together a bunch of songs. It's a cool EP. It's the Good Old Days EP. So what was it like to decide to, hey, you know what, we want to put this out and we want to do a release party for us? Like, who organized all that? Did you do that? Did you and the guys in the band do that? Did someone do it for you?
No, it's usually me. I mean, there's a facility here in Maryland called Hartford Sound, which they've got a great setup, great light show, and they kind of know what they were doing. And I was really nervous about doing a live stream because, like, frankly, some of them, they don't sound so great, and these guys kind of had their stuff together, so it was easy for us to walk in and set up almost like a live show and have that thing happen in a good way, and we're learning too as we go along, as are, I'm sure, other artists. You're kind of, it's a different medium, like we're in a empty warehouse, which is weird in and of itself. You're not playing to a crowd, and then there's no PA blasting out my vocals, and then it kind of reverberates around the room and comes back at you. It makes you feel like a god, so you don't have that. It's real it's a sterile environment, so it's really tough, especially for me. I'm used to the old school type of thing, playing out. I tried to get used to in-ear monitors, and that's tough for me. I always pop one out, so my one ear is going to be real deaf. I'll be walking around like all out off balance when I'm an old guy, but it is what it is. We do what we can. We're all learning. It's a learning process.
No, absolutely. That I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you, which I've asked other artists before. What is it like when you are playing and you're not getting that back, from the crowd? It's definitely a different feeling. Are you thinking about, I've been somebody who's tuned into a lot of these live streams. I tend to not go to where if there is a chat involved. I don't want to do that. I don't want to see what people are saying. I don't want to see if I want to enjoy what I'm watching. It's bad enough that I can't be there in person, so I want to enjoy what I'm watching. So are you wondering, like, gee, I wonder if people are chatting about it, or are they posting about it on social media, or are you able to get yourself kind of in the performance zone like you would if you were doing a live concert?
I think I am, for the most part. I'm not thinking about what people are saying during the performance. I'm thinking about the performance. I'm just trying to remember the words, honestly.
I love that. I love that.
But yeah, like afterwards, I'll look at the comments, and they're all positive. It's fans, so it's great. I love that, being able to interact there in that way as well.
And you guys have a very loyal fan base. And I think because you're a band of the fans, there are bands that, kind of do what they do. And then there's really bands of the fans. And you guys have always been so generous with people who've come out to see you. You've done stuff for us at the station. And I've seen people come, from other states, mostly gals. I'm not gonna lie, mostly the ladies, and they'll be like in the back, like, hey guys, and they'll drive in from, places that are, drivable, couple of hour drives, to see you guys. But I love that because you've been, a band of the fans. The fans have always been very important to you, taking photos with everybody, playing kazoo with Joe that day, the Ozzy tunes. You guys have been up for anything. You guys aren't the guys that go into a room and then, come out when we ask you to come out. That has never been my experience. You're among the people, you're meeting fans. Obviously that fan base has been very important to you.
Yeah, I mean, I've never felt, and I don't know if this will change or whatever, but I've never felt comfortable like doing a paid meet and greet or anything. And I am not trying to start any trouble with anybody who does that, because I understand how it is, being on the road. You're wiped out, you're exhausted, you're tired, whatever. But I feel like we're still at a stage also where we're a new band to a lot of folks, and I'm gonna get out there at the merch table, and I'm gonna say hi to people, and spend my time with them, especially after the show. I'm so up, from the performance,
Sure,
that
sure.
if you ever experienced me after the show, I'm pretty chatty. It's like I've just done an 8 ball, of Coke or whatever, but
No,
it's just
it's
a
true. I'm
performance,
thinking about that now. Yeah, after
Yeah.
performances, you've always been that guy who's like, all right, what are we doing now? What do you need
Yeah.
us to do now? What are we doing now? So you're
Right.
right. Yeah, that adrenaline rush kicks in, and it just doesn't go away.
Right. And I might hide in the dressing room prior to the performance just because I'm trying to get myself in an energetic headspace and just try to concentrate on doing the show. But afterwards it's all on. Like I'm hanging. I'm there. I'm there to talk to or whatever, do shots, and it's a cool thing to meet people and to interact, and I don't know, I generally I care. Like, we sold bundles to the last live stream, and I just took care of it, and then there was a delay, and there's delay because of slowdown in the post office or whatever, and I've put a note in all the packages to say, hey, look, thanks for your patience, and I threw some extra stuff in there because I care. I don't want people to be upset with me or with the band in any way. I want to do right by them.
Yeah, no, you've always been an artist and a band. The guys in the band are so great too. I always mention Jason and Ted, because I've known them for years. Your bass player I just met last year,
Right.
this past year rather.
Yeah. It
Seems like
seems like
last year. It
forever.
seems like we've been in lockdown forever. But the guys I know, they're like kind of like brothers. I know their dogs and the things
Yep.
that they do and their projects and everything that they're about. Jason, I think, texted me a couple of weeks ago. He was playing in Atlantic City. And he's
Hmm.
like, are you anywhere in Atlantic City? And I'm like, nah, I'm having cocktails on my deck, but like, yeah,
A
you
little.
guys are like, I feel like you guys are like brothers,
Yeah.
so I know how you are with the fans. And that's why I have never been ever reluctant to have you do anything for WDHA, because I know you guys are just all about, and you're so great too. Whenever we do anything with the animals, where do you need us to be? What can we do? How can we help? I mean, you guys are
Yeah.
the real deal. So John, what do you think is something good that is going to, because we always try to stay positive. We know the things that have suffered,
Yeah.
certainly, during the pandemic, and things that have suffered in music. But what do you think is something positive that's going to come out of all of this for everybody who's a music fan?
Well, I think that because of the lockdown, artists are forced to, stay in. And I think so there's going to be a ton of new music coming up, shortly here. And I think it's also going to force us and the industry in general to figure out alternative ways to get the music to people, or, well, maybe not music, but the live performances to people. It's just it's going to be a little bit of a little bit of a lag or whatever, a little bit of time before we can figure out how the industry really kind of moves forward. Hopeful that next year we'll be able to get out and do shows and interact with people again, and fingers crossed, whatever you ascribe to, but I really hope that we can get out there and
Yeah.
perform for people.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it to, I had the conversation with artists and have the conversation with even people that, work with me at the radio station. Sometimes you have to try to take obstacles and turn them into opportunity
Right.
and figure out things that we can do, as a community to make sure that people get their music, and get their artists. That's, again, the big reason we decided to do this feature, because we had people that were used to seeing you
Right.
doing a lunchtime show at Debonair, and they could come up and they can get
Right.
FaceTime with you and they can talk to you. And, so I try to, mention some of our WDHA listeners, in
I
these
don't have my
pieces.
kazoo.
No, we should have brought our kazoos and played for Joe, but these are the things that keep people going.
Yeah.
Joe's a guy who's always said to me, music keeps me going. Music, he's a teacher, and, music keeps me going. Music keeps me youthful. New music discovery is very, very important for people. So, I like to definitely get as many new projects on this feature as well, because I think it's so important that you guys are able to, get your music out to the masses. And I cannot wait to see you again. Wait, I gotta, hang on. Don't move. Come here. Come here. And my dog Rosie wants to say thank you for helping all the animals that you have helped us find homes for over all the years that you've been involved with WDHA and helping us on Rock and Rough and stuff. You've come out and you've played and you've done so much with both bands for us over the years that I cannot thank you. There are many people that came out to see you guys and meet you guys that ended up leaving with a dog or a cat. So Rosie says, pause up, John. Thanks so much. Right. She really appreciates it.
Thank
you,
Rosie.
Good old days. I want everybody to know exactly where they can find it, where they can pick it up, where they can download it. How can they find you guys on social media? Let her go.
I think the best place to go is probably Stone Horses Music. Where is it? There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
StoneHorsesMusic.com. We have, once we get this new stream concert scheduled, that'll be on there. You'll be able to find where to get the EP, CD, T-shirts. We got new bundles that we're offering.
I love it.
And a way to stream the stuff too. There are links in there. So you can go to Spotify, Pandora, wherever you listen to your music. And so that's a good place. There, of course, we have our Facebook page and Instagram and all that. Twitter is, I think, at Stone Horses Band, but the others are at Stone Horses Music.
Hey, so, whose car is on the cover, by the way, of the EP? Whose car? Is that your car?
No, it's not.
I didn't want to not ask you that. I was like, I got to remember to ask about the vehicle. It's cool.
I wish it was, man. It's a cool Trans Am.
It is.
So I just want to let everybody know I got kicked off Facebook. So if I don't write you back, it's because I can't.
You got kicked off? I know that you got hacked,
I got hacked.
You got hacked, and then it was like, wait a second. And at first I got a message from you and I was like, who is this? And I was like, oh my God. It, like 2 days later, I was like, it's John. And you got kicked off. So you're kicked off for how long?
I don't know, because so what happened was then they tell you to log on and change your password, and I changed my password I think twice, and I think I forgot what I did in the middle of it because I was like half asleep when I did it. So then they're like, okay, no, it's going to be a little while we review your case, and it's going to take longer.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's going to take longer because of COVID. So please be patient. So it's going on 2 weeks now. So I got to say also, in some ways, it's been freeing.
Yeah. No, I would imagine it is definitely freeing. I've done that where I've been at concerts and I'm like, you know what? You're not posting about it. You're just going to go and enjoy it. And it is definitely kind of a freeing feeling when you take a little bit of that social media break. But you, of all people, because you're like the best social media guy, you never preach. You're always, you're promoting the band, you're promoting music things. You're always doing like cool stuff. So you're the last guy that should be getting kicked off of Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part of it that I do miss. I miss, I'm afraid that people are sending me messages and they're thinking, well, why isn't he writing me back? What dick. But the honest, hit me up on Twitter, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Instagram, and I'll be able to message you back. So I apologize. I screwed up, but I can't help it. Facebook.
No, remember the days before passwords? Oh. Yeah. Crazy. Just
damn
crazy.
Hacker. Damn you.
Jerks. John, congratulations too. There's nobody that I'm happier to see good things during crazy times happen for than you. It was nice to see you when we were all under lockdown. You popped into our WDHA virtual happy hour and people were all excited to see your face. And I'm just so excited for Stone Horses. Good Old Days, just
Thank
a
you.
great record. It encompasses everything I think that we need. It's still a rockin' in your face record. It's a killer song. It reminds us of good times. And,
Yeah.
it's something we all need right now. So
That's
thank you so much.
I was hoping to write something to, escape any kind of troubles you have. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much, Terrie. I really appreciate everything.
John Allen, Stone Horses. You ready? Me and Rosie, give me a speech.
Bye, Rosie.
Love you.
Love you too. See you.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Advantage Contracting and by Karis Lock Company.